61 runs, 5 wickets. That is a simple equation that both England and New Zealand need on day 4 of the Lord's Test. There is also an added conundrum of the weather. Will it be bad today? Will it be sunny? This match is very unpredictable, just like the UK weather. Today, I will just focus upon what went wrong for both sides, because 61 runs a team can easily get rolled out, because in this match at Lord's, in the first test, there have been collapses plenty. 6 for 36, yet again New Zealand collapsed in the second innings, England collapsed spectacularly. Now in this, let's see what will happen, because a total of over 250 in the fourth innings, especially at Lord's, is pretty tricky. The last time anybody achieved a very successful chase was 344 for 1 by West Indies, but that was almost close to 4 decades ago. Now, what are England's chances? Basically, it is England's game to lose, but New Zealand can take the remaining 5 wickets because the lower order of England is very wobbly indeed. All eyes are on this current partnership, which I will focus on towards the end. But let us just have a rewind of day 3. What happened? Daryl Mitchell and Tom Blundell were going along brilliantly. Mitchell got to his century. He became the 15th New Zealand player to hit a century at Lord's. Blundell was just making progress, but then disaster struck. Thanks to this man's over, he first seized up the opportunity. He set up Mitchell brilliantly. Couple of incoming deliveries down that slope, and then just around that off stump, he got Mitchell out. And then in the very next ball, Colin de Grandhomme was not unaware. He was just not sure where he was. He just wandered out of the crease, a direct hit, and he was run out. The third ball, Broad produced an absolute peach to uproot Jamieson's off stump. And so that team hat-trick totally destroyed New Zealand's momentum. That is why when I say what collapses, even on day 4 at Lord's, it might happen. So Stuart Broad's over, in which there was a team hat-trick, just changed the entire momentum of the game. New Zealand's lower order failed, and that is why they set England a target of 277, which they also didn't start off pretty well, to be honest. What is it about Ben Stokes and his luck at Lord's? I mean, there was this one particular instance here where I have given a split. This is 2019 Stokes at the World Cup. This is 2022 England versus New Zealand. You all remember this iconic photo of Ben Stokes when he had turned around for the second run. There was a throw from the deep. He dived, but the ball hit his bat, deflected away to the boundary, and 6 runs were awarded when it should have been 5. There was nothing intentional in what Stokes did. I mean, let us make it absolutely clear. It was the force that was riding with England at that time. That is why they managed to clinch the ICC World Cup 2019 trophy by the barest of margins. History was about to repeat itself 3 years later. In that same instance, Stokes was sent back, but then the throw hit his bat. It went to mid-off, but luckily there was no boundary or no extra run was taken. It was the same banter that was between Trent Boult and Ben Stokes. The similar situation that had happened in 2019, it played out again at Lord's. And if I have to extend Stokes' luck at Lord's against New Zealand, he was bowled off an inside edge, Colin de Grandhomme, and we all thought the game was sealed and New Zealand had it in the bag. But what happened? De Grandhomme overstepped. One of the rare instances when he overstepped and Stokes went on to hit an aggressive 50. He took Ajaz Patel to the cleaners, ensuring that New Zealand lacked variety and all the pressure came to the bowlers. So, Stokes and luck at Lord's. I mean, this guy leads a charmed life at the home of cricket. He's got the fastest home century also. His last century, by the way, at home was his last century at Lord's, by the way, was also against New Zealand in 2015. So, it's really, we have to understand what is going to happen. Farig is saying Jamieson can take out Root early. And which other thing? Yes, Farig, Jamieson can take out Root early. But then remember, Joe Root has been simply sensational. Which is why I am going to come to this particular aspect now. Kyle Jamieson, bounce, pace, accuracy, he had it all yesterday. A sensational spell. Whenever you wanted a breakthrough, you used to turn to Jamieson, and he delivered 24, 59, 4. Sensational figures from him. He was out of cricket for some time because he didn't play the IPL. He was not there in much of the competitions that were there. But when he's in Test cricket, he's a different beast altogether. Jamieson utilized the bounce brilliantly and also got wickets at crucial intervals. He was also backed up by Trent Bolt. The wicket that he got of Ollie Pope was simply sensational. And so, Jamieson holds the key heading into the fourth day. Because remember, 61 runs, 5 wickets. Jamieson will have to get the bulk of those wickets if New Zealand are to win for the first time since 1999. Can New Zealand win? Dhairya saying, well, all hopes rely on this man, Dhairya, Kyle Jamieson. Sensational spell of 24, 59, 4 yesterday, but today he needs to be very accurate. And if he can get rid of Joe Root, he has hit 77 runs. Finally, after a long time, he's come back to form against New Zealand. So, it is a really sensational effort from the former England skipper. Remember, 1,710 runs in 2021 when the rest of the batting was failing left, right and centre. It was Root who held England together. Even in the partnership that he had with Ben Stokes, he was playing the ideal second foil. With Ben Foakes now, he changed gears. So he's still scoring at a strike rate of 58. Foakes, on the other hand, is just playing the second fiddle now. All hopes rest on him. Root needs 23 runs for century as well as for 10k test runs. If he gets that way, it would be an iconic moment as both the feats would be achieved simultaneously. Mohit Golecha, yes, thank you so much for pointing that out. Root indeed needs 23 runs to join an elite list. He will not only hit a century but also go past 10,000 runs. Very few England cricketers have managed to go past 10,000 runs. Alistair Cook comes into mind with over 12,000 runs. Root might very well enter that elite list because the likes of Graham Gooch, Andrew Strauss, Geoffrey Boycott never went past 10,000 runs in Test cricket. But Joe Root, simply sensational. So yes, that will happen if he scores 23 runs. Then any other comments? Jamieson is like a bowling machine but disappointed with Ajaz Patel. Ron Weasley is saying. Yeah, Ron Weasley, Ajaz was taken to the cleaners. Firstly because Ben Stokes, the left-hander probably didn't go with him. He was hit around the park. He was hit for 2 sixes by Stokes. So that didn't help matters any further. 2-0, 22 runs. Yes, it did hurt Ajaz Patel and it also hurt New Zealand's plans because remember, towards the end of the day, even Colin de Grandhomme walked off injured. He had an ankle injury. Whether he will bowl in this match remains to be seen. So, New Zealand are basically down to their 3 frontline pacers, Jamieson, Southee and Bolt. There is no de Grandhomme, potentially. Ajaz Patel, if he gets whacked around, he can leak easy runs. So, that will not be worrying. That will not be good signs for New Zealand. England, on the other hand, just need to knock off the 61 runs. But they also have Foakes and Root. Root and Foakes are the last recognized opening pair and that is why you have to understand this partnership is very, very vital. 2 early wickets in game on. Om Bachao, can New Zealand take 3 wickets in 3 balls? Well, if the England batters collapse, then yes, anything is possible. New Zealand do need early wickets and if they get Root out, then they have a really, really good chance. But you have to also understand, I have noticed a trend with Joe Root wherein when he is on a score overnight, he does not convert it into a big score. Ashes 2021 again in Brisbane, he was there in the 80s, he could have hit 100 but he got out early. Same in 2017 in the Ashes pink ball test in Adelaide, he was on 60, 67 if I am not mistaken, but he got out very early to Josh Hazlewood. Root does not start the new day well. That has been a trend which I have observed in the last 3-4 years. So maybe he is vulnerable today. But we have to understand that if Joe Root hangs in there, England win. The game is still 52% tilted towards England. So Root holds the key. Pathetic day for Colin de Grandhomme yesterday. Run out, no ball and whatnot. Yeah, it's been a very strange test for Colin de Grandhomme. De Grandhomme rescued New Zealand in the first innings with his 42. But then lack of situational awareness and he was out for a golden duck. Then got Stokes of a no ball, unpardonable considering that the situation was on a knife edge. Who do you think will win? Ron Weasley, I have to give a slight edge to England, provided Joe Root hangs in there and he goes past his century. But if Root goes early, then I will say advantage New Zealand. Talk about Australia versus Sri Lanka. Well, the Australia versus Sri Lanka series is going to begin from June 7th. We have plenty of international cricket happening, by the way. England, New Zealand, then India, South Africa will also begin from 9. Sri Lanka versus Australia is also going to begin from 7th. There will be T20Is, ODIs and test matches. For the first time in 6 years, Australia are making a full tour to Sri Lanka. In the last series that they were there, it was not a good period for them. They were hammered 3-0 in the tests, but they won the ODIs and they won the T20s. So it was a kind of a redemption for Australia at that time, but this time they will want to ensure that they continue the winning run in the T20s against Sri Lanka. They will also want to succeed in the ODIs, but more importantly, they cannot afford a slip up in the ICC World Test Championship because South Africa and India might make them pay. 2 tests after the T20s and the ODIs. And it's a good thing that Australia are coming because Sri Lanka, as we all know, is in the middle of a political turmoil. The economy of Sri Lanka has been battered. Anyway, crowds have been allowed for all the matches in Sri Lanka. There is no restriction. The biobubble restrictions have been removed. So you may see full houses at the Premadasa and at Palakele. So that begins on June 7th. That is, what are India's chances in WTC? Well, Farid, it's simple. They have got only 7 tests remaining. 2 against Bangladesh, this one on July 1 against England. That is the part of the England series that remained incomplete because of the COVID situation. So they've got 7 tests. They have to win at least 6 of them and hope that Australia do not draw or win any of their matches in India, because Australia after the Sri Lanka series, they have a rather tricky assignment against the West Indies, but they have a huge series against South Africa. In this entire series, India's World Test Championship cycles will hinge on how South Africa play, because South Africa play England and then they play West Indies at home and they play Australia away. So that performance will determine whether India can make it to the final. Where is Robinson? Well, Robinson is injured there, so that's why he's not playing in this match. So there was some fitness issues when it comes to Ollie Robinson, so that's why he's not there. So first day 17 wickets, 35 wickets in 3 days, no pitch issues has been the result. In India, we would have had a lot of criticism. Pradeep Srivalsan, I don't agree with that. You saw in that entire test match, the sun was beating down. When Mitchell and Blundell applied themselves, there was no demons in the wicket. It is just poor batting, poor application. There was nothing technically wrong with the pitch when Colin de Grandhomme got out. Jamieson got out because of a brilliant delivery from Broad. Anderson produced some 2-3 good rippers. It was just poor technique from both sides. So I will not blame the pitch at all in this. It is just poor application. Same in Ahmedabad. The England batsmen could not play a straight ball. So that's why they floundered like a pack of cards. So that's the thing. Yesterday, New Zealand choked. Om Bachao saying, yes, everything did happen yesterday. New Zealand did not. Piyush Roy can reach 15k. There's still time. I don't know whether he lasts that long, but let's see. New Zealand choked and match will be tied. My gut feeling, PW unofficial. Oh boy, if that happens, then it's historic. Only for the 3rd time in history we will have a tied match. But yeah, New Zealand, England, Lords. I mean, what can you say? 2019, New Zealand didn't lose, but they had a technicality. That's why they got out. That's why England won the title. Another tie at Lords would mean that, oh boy, we will have heartbreak, I may say. It may only be the 3rd tie in history though. Let's see what happens. So that is about it, folks. 61 runs for England to get 5 wickets for New Zealand. Which team will come out on top? And by the way, the weather might be a bit iffy, although the predictions have cleared out. It's only 10% chances of rain, so I think we will have an uninterrupted run to the match. So let's hope on the first session we see which team can come out on top. Thank you so much, and subscribe to Sports Today for all the latest news and information. Press the like, comment and share button. Also, we are there on Facebook. Thank you.